Wars. This is a show where, of course, I try to review every canon aspect of the Star Wars universe before the release of Episode 9. Today I'm talking about Tarkin, which is a book about Tarkin, specifically Moff Tarkin before he became Grand Moff Tarkin. Now, this story kind of follows two different plot lines. You've got, the main plot line, which is Tarkin teaming up with Vader, because of course they had to put Vader in this book. They couldn't just have Tarkin stand for himself. Tarkin and Vader kind of chasing this group of pre-rebellion rebels. And then the second story is kind of the origin of Tarkin, where he grew up, how he was forged, how he became the man that we now know as Grand Moff Tarkin. First of all, I want to touch on that origin story aspect of the book. It's not the majority of the book, but it does, run throughout. It keeps cutting back to his childhood. And honestly, it was my favourite part of the book. I really, really liked the origin of, Will of Tarkin, which is something I didn't think I'd say, but here we are. The book does a really good job of making the origin not just this, I guess this is how he turned into Tarkin. It really ties in his origin thematically with not just the person that we see in the future, the Grand Moff Tarkin that we see, but it thematically ties in his origin with kind of the philosophy that Disney has been building around the Death Star. In movies like Rogue One and some of the extended universe stuff, they've really been building this kind of this Death Star theory, I guess you could call it, the reason why the Empire and the Emperor more specifically built the Death Star, and the reason why so many people believed in it and believed it to be the end to, the rebellion, the end to the resistance against the Empire, and that is kind of this rule by fear thing. And what this book does is it, kind of intrinsically links Tarkin and his origin story to that kind of philosophy behind the Death Star. And I really respected that. I thought that we could have got just some kind of, interesting Tarkin story that didn't really tie in with, the Death Star or anything else, just kind of like, how did he get to this point? But it really goes the extra mile to make Tarkin be, really, after reading this book, the only person, who could really feasibly have, been in charge of the Death Star, more so than Krennic, and I think Krennic's an interesting character, but reading this book you go, oh wow, Disney has made it so that Tarkin is the perfect partner for the Death Star, and I think that's the best way to put it, he's the perfect partner for the Death Star. I will, however, have to talk about the bulk of the story, which is not Tarkin's origin, which is just a mission to stop these rebels. Now, there were interesting parts of this mission. I like Vader. I always like Vader showing up. He's cool. I do think he's overused a little bit in these books about Imperials, because sometimes I'm like, does Vader really need to go on a mission with every single Imperial? But there we have it. We've got Vader, and he's cool. Tarkin's really cool. I like how he kind of uses his tactics. We kind of see why he was able to ascend to Grand Moff Tarkin as opposed to, his Moff status. And we get some cool fights, space battles. It's hard to do space battles in books, I understand that, these... It's much more visually interesting to watch a space battle, but to read a space battle is kind of not as interesting. But I just wasn't in it for this story. I really was enjoying the origin stuff and the chasing the rebels. The rebels themselves really didn't interest me super a lot. I know this kind of doesn't make any sense, but yeah, I just wanted to say that there were aspects of this book I really enjoyed. The main bulk of the story wasn't kind of what was coming, bringing me back to the book, and it kind of, every time it cut away from that Tarkin origin, it really kind of was like, I wish we could get back to that. Luckily though, the book kind of wraps up at the end and kind of ends both stories as one. I don't want to spoil how it does that, but it does a good job kind of connecting the two stories, which a lot of these books, where they're split narratives, they don't end up connecting the stories very well. It's very forced. Whereas this felt like a fun little conclusion that kind of answered the questions we had from both stories. A little bit longer on this video because I kind of wanted to get into how much I liked / disliked this book, weirdly. Because I liked the origin stuff so much, but because it was so rare and the other stuff kind of was just like, oh, get back to the origin stuff, I'm going to give this a 2.5. It's middle of the road, you know. I think it's really good stuff. It's got some interesting things in there, but too much of what I didn't like taking away from what I did like. But yeah, maybe you'll have a different experience with it. Maybe you like, you know, reading the big space battles and stuff, and maybe your love of the character of Grand Moff Tarkin will carry you through. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.